So the first marketing of the first 5 categories, we'll go into that in just a second here. Well, let me do that now. The very first marketing you always want to do in any business, doesn't matter what business you're in, is you always want to first go to where the consumers are looking for that product or service. And the reason is there's already established need. That's the first marketing you always do. Now, what's interesting in chiropractic is there's only 8% utilization. So there's 92% that are not looking for a chiropractor. But what's great about that is out of that 92%, 3 out of 4 of them have a chiropractic problem, but they're not looking for a chiropractor. That's why it's the second leading cause of going, back pain, going to a local GP, the emergency room, workers' compensation injury. Number one reason of over-counter medications is joint pain. So there's a ton of business, and when I say chiropractic business, I'm based on, the statistics of chiropractic. 84% of the people go to the chiropractor for back pain, neck pain, headaches, neuromusculoskeletal, 9% for extremities. So you're at 91% of 8% right there. So, and then you're limited by your geographic radius of draw, and then you have to divide that by your competition. That's not a good setting. That's not good. Now, what's great is out of that 92%, 3 out of 4 of them have a problem, aren't looking for a chiropractor. So that's why we need to understand how to use publicity, advertising, or educational sales. So having said that, the very first marketing you always do is go to where you're consuming. Now, where do chiropractic patients go when they're looking for a chiropractor? Well, the first place is they'll ask their family member or friend. Everybody does that. We'd all rather go to a trusted source first, no matter what industry. Now, what does that mean from a marketing standpoint to a chiropractor? Well, what it means is you have active patients, and then you have passive patients, inactive patients. That's where the first businesses you want to go is to and then you go, okay, well, what if you were going to prioritize? What is your likelihood of getting business first? Is it you're active or inactive? It's going to be you're active. And then you go, okay, what part of your active business? Well, you should have 3 lists. One list is obviously all your patients. That's one list. And then you should have what's called a VIP list. That's patient, and that's defined as people who have referred 2 or more patients. Those are VIP. Those are very important. And then you have what's called a 17% list. That's a list of your patients who have referred one person. One. And the 80% is people who haven't referred anybody. So now this list becomes very important because it's disproportional to the number of business you'll get. I'll get a lot more business from my 3%ers. 3% of a business represents a great percentage of that business proportionally, not 3%. Like in airplanes, a business class is 6% of the seating, and it represents 33% of the revenue. And all businesses have, it's called the 80-20 Pareto principle. It's really not 80-20, it's 80-17-3. And they vary a little bit. It's not exactly 80, but basically that's how it works. The small percent of business gives the majority of business. That's kind of how it works. So as in marketing, you got to pay attention to it. So if I look at my patient, where's the first place I want to pay attention to marketing? Well, it's the trusted source. That's what you want first. So when I go to the trusted source, I got my active versus inactive. So I'm going to have a higher probability with my active versus inactive. Then I'm going to go, well, what part? My 80%ers, my 17%ers, or my 3%ers. That's why every time we do a promotion, you always, no matter what, you're always going to make sure you target your 3%ers, not just active, but passive. Those are your loyal people. Those are the people that go out of their way for you. You should have these lists. Know who they are because they're targeted specifically. Now, so if you go to active and passive lists, then we go to when we do a marketing campaign, obviously we want to start the active, the 3% active. And then within that 3% active, where are you going to get the business? The highest circle of influence. So there's 3 circles of influence. First circle of influence is under the same roof. That's typically spouse or kids. Sometimes it could be a mother or father that's older. And then there's the middle circle of influence, and that's typically brothers and sisters or a best friend. And then there's the outer circle of influence, acquaintances. Okay, so you can always get business easiest from the highest circle of influence, the under the roof. And which category? Active patients. What type of active patients? 3%ers. So the highest probability of getting business is from your 3% active patients, circle of influence, gateways. That's the highest probability of getting business.